Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about what the realistic expectations are of starting an SMMA in 2022, moving into 2023. This is a big video. It's super important that you guys have the expectations right, because there are more and more people on YouTube starting an SMMA, starting to produce content, and I see it all the time. You know, the thumbnails of we've scaled our agency to 300,000 a month in 2 weeks. Some ridiculous claims. And I'm not saying any of them aren't true, but it kind of gives some unrealistic expectations and kind of dims down the true expectations, because there are some, you know, it's a very frugal and lucrative space to be in. So just to give you a bit of background on myself, if you're new to the channel, my name's Harry. I own a digital marketing agency alongside Tom. We originally had separate agencies, you know, 3.5 years ago, and then 1.5 years ago we merged ours together because we started working on some similar projects, and we found that it was just a good fit. So we merged our agencies together. Yeah, and we're now making over £35,000 a month in profit, not revenue. So yeah, just to give you a bit of credibility, so you know that it's coming from a good place, and it's coming from someone that actually is making money from an agency and not just selling courses, although we do have a mentorship program. So right, let's jump into it. So step one is the £10,000 a month mark. If you're in the SMMA space, you would have heard this thousands of times, right? You can make £10,000 a month online. That sounds crazy. For a lot of people, I said it in 2 videos ago, that's half of my parents' yearly salary growing up. When I first heard that, I thought, there's not a fucking chance that's going to happen. When I passed it, I was like, oh, this is possible. And you hopefully see that soon when you start an agency, or if you've got an agency you're on the way there. But a realistic expectation is getting to £10,000 a month or $10,000 a month, guys, is super achievable. It really is. And I think the only way you guys are going to see it is by getting stuck into it and getting a few clients. Once you get one and you see how much time it takes to manage that client, it's physically impossible for me, at least, and hopefully it is you, to think all I need to do is do that 10 times if they're a £1,000 a month client and I've got to that 6-figure mark. In terms of a time frame, I don't like giving a time frame on how easy it is to get to £10,000 a month, but because it's all dependent on how much outreach you do. Someone that does 5 pieces of outreach a day is going to get there 10 times slower that does 20 outreaches a day. And when I say outreach, I just mean businesses contacted per day. So if you contact 20 businesses a day, you're going to get there slower than someone that contacts 100 businesses a day. But a realistic time frame, I mean, if you're doing 50 to 100 cold calls a day, I mean, that's a big number. Someone who's experienced in cold calls. Tom, when he worked at a call center before he started his agency, was doing like 250 a day. But they were all kind of, you know, just press a button and it files to the next one on a database. But it's very reasonable to ask people to do 25 to 50 messages or cold calls per day. And if you do that, I really don't see how you can't get to at least $3,000 a month profit, reoccurring revenue every single month within 2 or 3 months, and within 6 or 7 months, providing you've got the skill set nailed and you know how to deal with these clients, you know how to close clients, you know how to put good presentations together. I don't see why you can't get to £10,000 a month within 6 or 7 months. Really, and that's not an unrealistic or outlandish thing to say, because I've seen it happen so many times with our academy members. Once you get that strategy in place, and more importantly, the blueprint of, right, I now know how to find the perfect customer. I now know how to book a meeting with that perfect customer. I now know how to offer the correct amount of value in a meeting to convert that customer into a paying customer. And now I know how to give them, to make them money on the back end of delivering your service, to keep them long term. Once you've got that blueprint in place, and it's stuff that we teach day in, day out to our academy members, it's very difficult not to get to that stage within 6 or 7 months. It really is. However, there are some expectations that you're probably not going to want to hear, and that I personally never heard people talk about, which is you're probably going to lose your first client. And this sounds, I don't know, you tell me how it sounds, but it's very unrealistic for you to expect to not lose your first client. That first client shouldn't be seen as a monetary gain. Like, the gain of getting that first client shouldn't be, right, I've now made £3,000 over 3 months. I'm now rich. Obviously, you're not rich off £3,000, but the the benefit and the ROI on your time investment into getting that client and delivering the services is the learning curve rather than the actual money that you've gained from it into your business. And the reason being, having that hands-on experience to, firstly, in a sales meeting, if you've never had a sales call before, doing cold calls that successfully come off, that's going to be super positive for you to show that the process really does work. Onboarding them is going to be a huge learning curve. Once you've done it once, you now go into every other meeting with lots more confidence because you've done it. Getting your first ads up, feeling the excitement of making your client money, or even or not losing money. But for any agency owner of, I don't know, 2 or 3 years old, to say that they've still got their first client or have never lost, one of the first clients they ever got, is very unrealistic. I lost my first client after the first 3 months. I didn't lose them money, but I didn't necessarily gain them much money. We kind of broke even on the campaigns, and they thought, oh, there's not much point carrying on, which was totally fine. They then referred me to other business, which I kept for a lot longer. But like I say, it's very unrealistic to think that you're not going to lose one of your first clients, because you probably will. But what you've got to just remember is keep a level head and just don't get too upset by it, and just move on. Use that experience, get that testimonial, get that case study, and move on to the next. And finally, point 3, guys, is how quickly can you replace a job with SMMA? And this is a really, a really crucial point, because a lot of people will be starting SMMA alongside their current job or alongside their studies. So when's a good point, and what's the expectations there of how soon you could potentially quit your job? And this is very different to everyone. And I need to be very careful with the advice I give here, and I might do another video on this, because everyone's kind of personal life's very different. Everyone has different responsibilities. If you've got 0 outgoings, you don't have any children, you don't have a family to support or any other commitments, then probably taking that risk and that jump is going to be an easy decision to someone that has 3 kids, a mortgage, debt to pay off, a family to support. So they're very different. And obviously everyone's job salary has a different level, and most people want to be making their salary before they make the jump, which is rightly so. So it's a very personal decision. But in terms of expectations, it's very, very achievable to be able to run a social media marketing agency alongside a job. I've seen it done many times. We've got Academy members that make $70,000 a year while at university, making it from their dorm rooms. We've got people that just want to make £4,000 a month extra alongside their job. So some people don't even want to quit their job. They want to keep that job for security, manage 3 or 4 clients on the evenings, make an extra $4,000 a month, which tops it up to a 6-figure salary. And that's that's their life. That they're happy with that. But in terms of when is a good time to quit your job, or what expectations you should have there, like I said, it's very different. If you suddenly start making the money to quit your job, that could be, depends what your salary is, but that could be within 3 or 4 months, providing you've got the knowledge there. For example, I couldn't give that advice to me when I first started, because I couldn't sign a client for 6 months. That's because I had no idea what I was doing. If I started now with the knowledge, I'd sign one within a week. So it all depends on your lifestyle, really, and that's the expectations that I kind of have to give. But yeah, hopefully that helps, guys. Those are some good expectations there, guys. Probably stuff that you've not heard before, you've not heard a lot of people talk about. But if you've got any questions about your personal situation of when's a good time to quit your job, what can you expect from clients that you've signed, or whatever, if you've got any questions on what you can expect from starting an agency or scaling an agency, just drop me a message, drop me a question. And if you want any kind of one-to-one help in mentorship style, please click the link below to watch the Digital Culture Academy video on the website. I take you through the whole training program of how you can be personally kind of have your hand held by Tom and I to get you to where you need to be. It's not just a video course, guys. It's a full mentorship program where you held your hand one-to-one to us, 24/7 support. So if you're interested in that, click the link below. And if you've not watched our previous video, the previous video was on the 3 keys to success in SMMA in 2022 and 2023. So if you've not watched that video, guys, give it a watch. Make sure you subscribe, drop a comment and a like, and we'll see you tomorrow.